Hi everyone, my name is Sheikh Samullah and these are my teammates Janardhan and Ganpaneni Arun Kumar. And our supervisor name is Dr. S. Vinod Kumar, Associate Professor. So these are our industry details. Our industry name is Western Technologies and the duration of our internship is 6 months. Our guide name is Mr. Karthik and this is the agenda of our project. So this is the abstract of our project. As we know, nowadays, agriculture sector is expanding, so the farmers has access to about various information such as ecosystem, food, and type of water they can survive, so that it can help them to enhance the yield of the fish. But as of now, many farmers have no idea about the agriculture farming. So we are implementing this project. We are using here a relationship database that stores variety of fishes, species, and data in the agriculture industry. Relational tables, however, only function efficiently with organized data. So here we are helping farmers to know the data of various fishes about the food items and the process, how to process the manage and retrieve the relationship data. So the objectives, the main aim of the project is to develop an application which will be easier to the aquaculture farmers to provide certain quantity of food to the fishes. There are many species of fishes. So it will be difficult for the farmers to know which type of fishes. So here we are using relationship database and displays the type of water that can survive. This helps the fishermen maintaining hygienic condition of the fishes. So the scope of the project here is as the farmers have less knowledge of in fish farming, so they have limited shelf life and unique handling needs. It is vital to correct, store, and treat these fishes in order to reap their full economic and natural benefits. So it is the main scope of our project. So this is the introduction of the project. The main thing is we are giving benefits to the farmers as they have no idea about the farming, aquaculture farming. So which type of food is required for the fish and which type of the water can survive. By this purpose, we are developing an application. By this, farmers are easily known about the fish farming. Our application predicts quantity and quality of the feed fishes and also helps farmers to access the information about different fishes. So by this, the growth of the fishes and the output of the fishes will be more. So these are the literature reviews that we have collected. So here the design and methodologies of our project contains 4 modules. In the first module, we are collecting the data and data preprocessing, and we are preprocessing the data. In the module 2, client registration and requirements, and module 3 is vendor collecting and supplying food, and module 4 is management and analysis team. Module 1. So here the step 1 is collecting the food and data preprocessing. First, we are collecting the data and we train the data and evaluate the data by using risk classifier. Once the data is collected, we are analyzing using advanced classification techniques. So the second step is once the data has been pre-processed, the next step here is to model and train the dataset with risk classifier. After training the data, we are implementing the web app. And the step 3 is to deploy the model which implements the front-end application to client, admin, vendor, and management and analysis team. And then we are implementing the end store of the back details. So the step 4 here is getting the output. So the module 2 is client registration and requirements. Here the clients need to fill some basic details and of our requirements and need to get approval. And the module 3 is vendor collecting and supplying food. Here the vendor collects the food from various departments and vendors also having a login details in which he saves the location and the food details, collected source and the source in the database. So this is the work done by the vendor, collecting and supplying the food and maintaining the details of the food, what type of food it is and everything. So module 4 is management and analysis team. Here the management team is the in charge of approval and analysis process. In order to proceed with recommendation processes, the management reviews client information. After reviewing, they approves the client registration details and approves the data. So if any client wants to know the details of the fish, he or she requests the management team about the data, and the management team analyzes it and approves the correct data to the client. So these are the standard and policies of our project. So this is the implementation. This is the implementation. Here we are implementing the project to fishermen to get access the information about the aquaculture farming. Here the client needs information about to login. Once the client gets to login, web page will be verified by management team and use access to the client. And the vendor here collects the wasted food from industries and uploads the detail of the food supply and the source of food as well as the variety of the food that have stocked. And the analysis team views the client requirements and the client has entered into the client module as per details. Once the analysis team verifies the client and details and the vendor stock details, if it matches, they provide the food and requirements to the client. So the architecture diagram here is it defines the structure, behavior, and more view of the system. So this is the architecture diagram of our project. And this is data flow diagram. Here it is used to here the data flow diagram is used to represent the flow of data through an information system. So in our project, data flow system represents the flow of data. It contains 4 entities and each having type of data flow and data processes. So this is the data flow diagram. Here we are using the use case diagram for user interactions with the system. Here it shows different use cases and various types of users that the system has. This is the use case diagram. And we are using class diagram for the graphical notation to construct and visualize object-oriented systems. So this is our class diagram about the details of client, vendor, analysis, management, and admin. Activity diagram. Here we are using activity diagram to represent the design models used to represent the flow of control among the different activities of the software. So this is our activity diagram. And the sequence diagram. Here we are using sequence diagram for the interaction diagrams that detail how operations are carried out. They capture the interaction between object in the context of collaboration. And the focuses on the time focus and shows the order of interaction visually by the vertical axis of diagram to represent time and messages that are sent. So this is the sequential diagram. Here we are using collaboration diagram. Collaboration diagram here we are using for the interaction of the objects to perform the behavior of a particular use or a particular part. Here the designer uses a sequential and collaboration diagram to define the clarity roles of objects that perform a particular flow of use diagram. So this is our collaboration diagram. ER diagram. ER diagram is entity relationship diagram. Here we are using entity relationship diagram to know the relations between data objects. This is our ER diagram. Testing. Here we are doing unit testing. Unit testing is done for focusing verification efforts on smaller unit of software design. The unit testing here is white box oriented and some models that are conducted in parallel. So these are the test results. And the integration testing. Here we are doing the integration testing for testing the interface between 2 software units or modules. It mainly focuses on determining the correctness of the interface. The purpose of the interface testing is to expose faults in interaction between integrated units. Once all modules are being unit tested, integration testing is performed. Here on the screen, we are able to see input page, and these are the test results. White box testing. White box testing mainly ensures that the independent paths have been exercised at least once. All the logical decisions have been exercised on true or false ideas. Here loops are executed within their boundaries and operational bounds. All internal data structures have been exercised to assure their availability. So here the concept of white box testing mainly is to create independently to verify data is correct or wrong. So black box testing. Here black box testing is the main technique used to functionality of a system or application without knowing its internal working or code. Here, in the context of aquaculture, black box testing used to test the functionality of the system used for aquaculture process. Here, defining the system and the test. The first step here is to system or application that you want to test it. In case of aquaculture, this could include various components such as the water supply, the tanks, the filtration system, and the feeding system. So this is the input. Here in the input, we have the client requirements. So if, so these are the client requirements that we are shown on the screen. And this is the output of our diagrams of our projects. So mostly the conclusion here is the main scope is to get the advantage of the wild sea caught seafood. It allows for controlled breeding, feeding, and harvesting of aquaculture species. So very often farmers don't know about how to treat with if a fish get any features, then they don't know how to survive, how to which type of they can survive, and they do know. So these are the web references and the video links. So these are the references that we have collected of our project. So this is the poster presentation of our project. Thank you.